The biggest fear a combat athlete has when he's in the locker room prior to the match, any sport, wrestling, judo, boxing, in this case, MMA, the biggest fear is exhaustion. It's not the outcome not going their way. And when you have somebody like Chimaev who's aware that he can get tired, he's no longer naive to the fact and simply doesn't care. He embraces it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the guy deserves it. I think the guy deserves it, and I think it's going to be a bigger fight than Strickland DDP for the UFC to make money on. But all those guys in the top three, I hope Khamzat gets a chance to fight, because I think he's just a nightmare for anyone at this point. I really do.
My appetite for a Dricus du Plessis Khamzat Chimaev middleweight championship fight is healthier than maybe for any mixed martial arts contest of my lifetime, because I have no idea what is going to happen, but just the overall strength and will. And bro, like, can I just not call that fight and just lay back in the cut? I mean, I am so excited about Chimaev, I don't even know what to say.
What he does, for me as a fighter myself, me as an already established champion, I look at him and I feel like I need to learn more with the grappling. I need to learn more with the attacks. I need to learn more with how to control someone and not let him move and play the game like he does. He's got to fight for the title next.
Yeah, got to be.
Yeah, he has to. I want to see him in DDP. That's what I want to see.
Here's the thing. It honestly feels like he should have already fought for the championship. But I think it kind of like has that Khabib feel to it, where Khabib kept getting injured. Khabib couldn't get to the fights. And so it was like a matter of time before he finally got there.
Yeah, I totally understand the way you look at it, but you got to admit, he brings an excitement to that weight class that really hasn't been around for very long, very much. You had Anderson Silva dominating the weight class for a long time. There was a ton of excitement over him. Then Izzy was kind of dominating it, and you kind of got that. He's the next guy. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Sean or DDP or any of them, great fighters, but don't have that exact aura.
It's scary as hell, bro. Like I said, if I was at that weight class, like, I don't know what I'm doing, bro, because nah, son. Nah. I was talking to Ode. I was like, man, I would need to be just as good as I am grappling now at that weight. Otherwise, I'm not fighting that guy. People can say whatever they want. There's no reason for me to learn the hard way and prove nothing. If I know, like, in deep in my soul, like, yeah, that's just gonna be a bad ending. Like, I know that story. I know how that story ends.
But it was the initial takedown, I guess, that surprised me the most, because the guy shot from like 2 meters away and was like, honestly, a foot off the ground maybe. And it was just, it's hard to defend. The only thing I can think of in hindsight, which is great, right, is more lateral movement, so that he can't get a reading. You can't go straight back up, because once you hit that fence, he reaches for the ankles, and then just starts that wrestling chain, that wrestling transitions into the wall. But that initial takedown is hard to stop, like really, really hard to stop.
Dana White and humbly myself and many other people have been saying, Ken Flo, really since 2020, that we have absolutely no point of comparison when it comes to Khamzat Chimaev. And that is everything, just the electricity and the energy that he brings to an arena, even in a subdued nature here. He starts walking out, dude, the sports fan in me, I'm effectively freaking out. And yet I have a microphone and I have to figure this thing out, right? So saying nothing of the in-competition stuff, the ultimate competitor that we saw, he just, to me, brings so much energy to this MMA space.
With a guy like Khamzat, he's a bully fighter like a lot of guys are. Constantly being afraid of that takedown, I think, gets a lot of people backing up. And with Khamzat, what I see is the way he shoots in, he's not necessarily getting him on the legs and getting a perfect double, not at all. He gets in and he wants to grab a hold of you. And if you are defending or have a defensive mindset on that, he just grabs a hold of you, and that's where he starts to tie you down. So I think that was something, maybe a mistake that Whitaker made. But like I said, on a mental level, you don't know how hard this guy is, you don't know how strong he is. So it's a feeling out process, and the way Khamzat likes to treat this feeling out process is by getting the fight to the ground as soon as possible and trying to drain you and see if you make a mistake as soon as possible.
He's just, I like Khamzat Chimaev being in the UFC, right? And we like good guys. And yeah, we spoke about him maturing and evolving. But I also like bad guys. I also like people that, you don't want to fuck with this guy, you know? And they love him in that part of the world. Oh my God. We went to this Irish bar attached to the hotel. Just having a couple of beers with the boys from TNT, Adam and Nick. And there were these girls came in, right? And they're like major UFC fans. And, you know, girls don't really care, you know, in my opinion, you know, too much. And they were just going on and on about Khamzat Chimaev. Yes, he's the best. He's going to kill this guy. Yes, no one can mess with him.
He's blessed to be at the right place at the right time during the pandemic, to be pulled into the UFC and be able to run through 2-3 guys in a span of 13, 14 days and still be able to just get guys out of there in first round. And I think Khamzat Chimaev is just special. If he's able to get his hands on you and drag you down to the ground, I think he's able to impose his will down there.
Robert's a warrior, man. He's a warrior, and it just proves that, you know, Khamzat is basically, like I've always thought, the real deal. And you know, he's the guy that I see beating a lot of people, even at light heavyweight. I really do believe in him that much.
Victory to me, that was a mauling from the first bell. Took him down. You can't let Chimaev get his hands locked. He looks like he has some of the best grip strength out there.
Over a world champion.
Over a former world champion who's been around and fought everybody in the middleweight division. You know, he hasn't been submitted since 2011. This is only his second time submitted as a pro. Chimaev is a special human being, and I want to see him fight for the belt.
We know if we get DDP versus Khamzat's injury-free. He's hot right now. I think he's a bigger name than Sean Strickland because his fighting style, he takes the fight directly to his opponents. And you have DDP, who finished Izzy Adesanya. He beat Sean Strickland. He's also beat Robert Whittaker. He finished Robert Whittaker. I think that's the fight to make. I think you capture lightning in a bottle. You have a guy who's undefeated, Khamzat Chimaev, taking on DDP.
Khamzat is a strong guy, but I know for a fact that he's never felt power like this. Now, when it comes to his wrestling, obviously that's his strong suit and where he likes to take a fight, and I would welcome that if I had to fight him. Now, let's meet strengths and see who can last. I think the fact that he always fights with his strength, he uses that strength, that's why he gets tired. But you can say the same about me. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to who's willing to give up and who's willing to die on there. You know, that question's I've answered that question many, many times.
Khamzat Chimaev is going to be the champion one way or another. That is a given. I literally spoke to him about 5 hours ago before. He was shouting down the phone at me because I never came to fight. So, and then he was asking for some to get some winter clothes because he knows Liverpool has fashion. But he is going to be the champion 100 million%. In fact, I'm gonna probably do a bet now on the site for him to be champion.
The one thing that I'll say he does beautifully, he changes angles incredibly well. He will turn a corner on anyone to get to the right angle to be able to drive and make himself heavy and have more strength. You know, I know people, you look at body types and you think, oh, this guy's stronger. It's not a matter of how much weight they can move, it's how they move it. And Chimaev understands how to move that weight. He is just so good at, he looks like a damn predator when he's getting ready to fight, with his eyes and the way he's like a wolf.
If you're able to get rid of a former champion, someone who's been the gatekeeper at 205 pounds like Robert Whittaker, and to be able to do it in a round, less than a round, put him in there and give Khamzat Chimaev that damn title shot.